Welcome, everybody. Good morning. My name is Pete Christensen. I am co-director of Silicon Valley Clean Cities Coalition, and welcome to our Farm, Build, Breathe Clean, Transitioning to Zero-Emission Equipment webinar. We are conducting this webinar in partnership with Sacramento Clean Cities Coalition. And I will go over the agenda here. I will be going over some basic housekeeping rules briefly, and then doing an introduction to Silicon Valley Clean Cities Coalition, after which we'll have 4 presentations, one from Monterey Bay Air Resources District, the next from Central Coast Community Energy, and then a presentation from DANR US. And at this point, Arun Seelam from Boson Motors, he's calling in from India, so he might be having technical problems. If he's not able to join us, then I will go ahead and read his slides. We do have his slides, and we'll be, we'll deal with that as when the time comes. And then after the presentations, there will be about 15 minutes of question and answer, which I will moderate. And then after that, will be closing remarks from my Silicon Valley Clean Cities Coalition co-director, Margot Seidner, who is also Deputy Executive Director of Breathe, California. Silicon Valley Clean Cities Coalition was established 31 years ago in 1994, and we cover Santa Clara, San Mateo, San Benito, Santa Cruz, and Monterey counties. We've been hosted locally by Breathe California, the Bay Area, Golden Gate, and Central Coast since 2008. And simply put, our mission is to reduce transportation-related greenhouse gases and air pollution throughout our 5-county territory. And we form local partnerships with our stakeholders. We currently have well over 400 stakeholders, roughly about half from the private sector and half from the public sector, such as cities, counties, and schools, etc. And we work with both private and public fleets. And then we have we work with product and service providers and government, environmental, and energy agencies, and also nonprofits and advocacy organizations. And we connect public and private fleets with alternative fuel providers and industry partners. We provide training and information such as this webinar. We also conduct EV ride and drives and workshops and listening sessions and workforce development training. And we provide technical assistance. We identify funding such as grants or rebates and incentives for clean transportation, and we provide public recognition and promote clean transportation events throughout our 5-county territory. And we also collect data and track our progress of our territory towards clean transportation. One prime example of the work we've done over the years is our signature project, our electric school bus conversion. Margot led a team of 7 stakeholders who contributed a total of $500,000 to develop and put into service the world's first full-size battery electric Class D school bus. It was the first of its kind in the world, and it is quite a significant achievement. We also participated recently in a peer-to-peer cohort session sponsored by National Renewable Energy Labs, also known as NREL. And we work with 3 fleets, 3 municipal fleets in our area, the cities of Santa Cruz, City of Watsonville, and City of Palo Alto. And we help them develop their municipal fleet electrification plans. And throughout the 6-month peer learning cohort, we went through 6 different workshops, 1 per month. We also added a session on workforce development technical training. We also conducted a couple of tri-city meetings between the 3 cities in our area to facilitate peer-to-peer discussions between the municipal fleet personnel. And we also beta tested NREL's TechScape software, which is designed to help municipal fleets efficiently plan where to install their EV charging infrastructure. And now I would like to turn it over to Margot Seidner, to introduce all the presenters. The first one will be from Monterey Bay Air Resources District. So thank you, and take it away, Margot.
Thanks, Pete. So we're happy to have all of these great speakers today, and I will be introducing them as they appear. David Frisbee is our very first David, the only one I've actually met in person of our speakers, is the Planning and Air Monitoring Manager for Monterey Bay Air Resources District, a group we work with quite a bit in Breathe, California. And David's experience in air quality management spans over 35 years, from his first role at the Santa Barbara County Air Pollution Control District through his current role at the Monterey Bay Air Resources District. After 21 years as a compliance officer, David moved into the planning division at MBARD, where he currently works as the planning and air monitoring manager. Over the course of his career, he has worked to reduce air pollution from industrial sources and limit smoke impacts on communities from open burning. And in his free time, David enjoys hiking and sailing near his home in Santa Cruz, California. So, David, welcome.
Thank you, Margot. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to discuss some of our programs that we have for providing grants and incentives to transition agricultural equipment to cleaner burning equipment or zero emission. Our program goals are, of course, air districts are in the business of reducing precursors to smog. So our overall efforts are trying to reduce smog regionally. And every air district's the same in that. That's our main function. So in order to do that, we usually have the foundational programs are to write permits, issue permits for stationary sources. For transportation projects and agricultural equipment, we don't have the authority to issue permits or regulate those sources. So what we do is we'll offer incentives to try to achieve emissions reductions from those sources. So our program goals: reduce nitrogen oxides, volatile organic compounds, and particulate matter from combustion equipment. This is important because there's a range of health effects, especially from diesel exhaust, everything from heart attack to cancer. And so they're finding more and more adverse effects from diesel exhaust. So that's one of the main things we're trying to reduce. It's Monterey Bay Air Resources District. It has the jurisdiction of three counties: Santa Cruz, Monterey, and San Benito counties, which are shown here in the satellite image. And the reason I'm showing this as a satellite image is I want to just convey the overall elevated concentrations of air contaminants that we've seen in our area historically. If you look at the top left of the screen, that's the San Lorenzo Valley. That's where we have high concentrations of PM2.5 on occasion, especially during the winter months from wood burning stoves and fireplaces. We get a temperature inversion in the river valley and the San Lorenzo River Valley, and we'll have elevated concentrations of smoke from those sources. At the far right of the screen, on the east side of the air basin, we'll get higher concentrations of ozone, and particularly at the Pinnacles National Park. We'll get an air mass generally from San Joaquin Valley, from southern part of the Bay Area, and from our own region. We'll see higher ozone concentrations on usually higher hot days, stagnant air, and we'll see the ozone build from the emissions from NOx and VOCs. And then on the third circle there at the bottom, you'll see King City is where we get most of our PM10 concentrations due to wind-blown dust in agricultural operations. So Those are the three main places where we're seeing elevated concentrations in our region, and a lot of that does is contributed from emissions from agricultural equipment. So, what do our grant programs incentives do? They're voluntary programs. They incentivize the change out of equipment in order to achieve emissions reductions, and it's not to fund projects into compliance, but it's to encourage emission reductions that we wouldn't otherwise achieve through any other kind of regulation. So this is surplus emissions is what we're achieving. So the programs that I'm introducing here are the replacement equipments for diesel equipment. We get our funding from the Air Resources Board. Is most of our grants are passed through from the Air Resources Board to our grantees. These are done statewide, but not by the Air Resources Board, but they pass the administration of the grants onto air districts. So if you're not in the Monterey Bay Air Resources District's jurisdiction, Monterey, San Benito, or Santa Cruz counties, you could go to your own local air pollution control district to see when they have their programs like this opened up. So we have the Carl Moyer Memorial Grant Program, which will provide incentives up to 50% to replace the replacement costs of a tractor, up to $150,000 of the replacement costs. The Funding Agricultural Replacement Measures for Emission Reductions grant program is called the Farmer Program. That is more specific to agricultural equipment, so it's just another funding based for agricultural equipment, and as well as the Community Air Protection Program from Assembly Bill 617, which is more specific to disadvantaged communities and low-income areas. And for those areas, we will provide up to 90% or $200,000 for replacement costs. So what kind of projects we're looking at? Irrigation pumps, off-road equipment, so tractors in this case, and utility terrain vehicles. So the small mule type utility vehicles that are found on many farms in our region. So to be eligible for these grant programs, the baseline equipment, so the equipment that's going to be destroyed in the end, it must be operational. So if we're not going to replace equipment that's not operating because we wouldn't achieve any emission reductions. So the equipment has to be operating, and it has to be operating in our region and in compliance with all regulations. So if it's out of compliance for any reason, we can't fund the project. So to prepare for applying for the grant programs, we'll need at least 2 years of documented usage. So service records are probably the best way of doing that because that also allows us to show operationality of the equipment. So if you're thinking of applying for this program, collect at least 2 years of documented usage before applying. And here's the real critical part is that you cannot take any action to procure, order, or deliver the equipment prior to applying for the program. Actually, prior to receiving a grant, a contract, a grant agreement from the local air district. CARB has strict requirements for that, so we want to make sure that you are aware that if you have already ordered the equipment, you're no longer eligible for the program. So this is an irrigation pump. On the left is the baseline equipment, and it was replaced with the electric motor on the right. This is a program. This is our Carl Moyer grant program from 2024. We've did 21 projects with $2.5 million that we received from CARB, and we were able to achieve 64.8 tons of emissions per year. If you see on the left side, there's the baseline tractor. In the middle is the destroyed baseline, and the replacement tractor is on the right. That was a grant for $53,895 to the Alameda Company. There's a farmer program. essentially the same program, different pot of money. We had a baseline tractor in the left, destroyed baseline in the middle, and the replacement tractor on the right. Uh, the total grant was 133,785. So we're looking at opening up the utility terrain vehicle, which is a new category that was provided by CARB in their new guidelines. So we've opened up a new we will be opening up a new category. UTVs, like the image in the slide, are these small vehicles that are able to just do work around the farm or ranch, and they have to meet certain standards of design standards. Engine size, 1 liter, has to have a steering wheel, so it can't be an automated new system that they're starting to develop now. And it has to be zero emissions, it has to be electric. So, and then the incentive amount is up to $13,500. So the grant program process, I want to state here that we don't currently have a program open. We're still waiting for funding from CARB, but we shall be receiving some in the next couple months. So we will be opening a program soon. But it's good to be aware of the process. We have an application period that we open up for a couple of months, and then we will evaluate the projects. And if a project's selected, then we'll make an offer. Inspectors do a pre-inspection, and then we'll send out a fully signed agreement. And then that's when equipment can be ordered. Then the baseline equipment's destroyed, new equipment's delivered, and then once that's all verified, then we'll send out a check. Program application. This is an example of the application where you just it's all online. You have an opportunity to upload pictures and documents. We evaluate and then rank the projects and then make offers based on that ranking. The priority is to electrify equipment. There's not a whole lot of options out there, but we'll put those projects to the very top, and then the next priority is priority populations. These are our priority populations. You can see the pink areas are the disadvantaged communities, what's designated disadvantaged by the state of California. And in our area, it's areas surrounding Watsonville, the city of Marina, and the city of Salinas. And you can find resources on our webpage. I encourage and invite you to get onto our mailing list. We will send out all of our notices on our mailing list. So go to our website and sign up for the mailing list for the Diesel Engine and Equipment Replacement Program. And you can also find the Carl Moyer and Farmer programs on the Air Resources Board web pages. And these are our staff who are working on the programs currently. And invite you to call them if you are interested in the program at all, and they can help talk you through how to apply when the applications come up. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I am pleased to announce our second speaker, who is Paige Callaghan. She leads the implementation of the agricultural and electrification and electric bus rebate programs at Central Coast Community Energy, better known as 3CE. And her official title is Energy Programs Analyst. Paige also manages enrollment for a dynamic rates pilot, hourly flex pricing, and is leading an effort to redesign the AG program through a series of stakeholder focus groups this fiscal year to better meet the electrification needs of 3CE's agricultural customers. Paige received a Master of Public Health degree from UC Berkeley in Environmental Health in 2023. And for fun, she can be found surfing baby waves in Santa Cruz during her free time. Welcome, Paige.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I hope everyone can see my surf background. I was very excited that we actually got to brand these as 3CE. So my name's Paige. I'm really excited to be here to talk through 3CE's Ag Electrification Program and other offerings that we're providing to our customers to help enable sustainable and cost-effective electrification in the industry. So I first want to give a quick overview of who 3CE is. So we are a community choice aggregator. We are a not-for-profit local energy utility that sources clean and renewable energy, and then sources it to you through the existing grid. So we're a partner of PG&E and SCE, and we have customers all across California's Central Coast. So you can see here our service territory spans from Santa Cruz in the north all the way down to Santa Barbara. So if you live in one of these counties, you're most likely one of our customers. 93% of all of these people living in these counties are enrolled with 3CE, and we would be showing up as the procurement on your energy bill. We serve 1.2 million customers across 5 counties and 30 cities. And our ag customers actually represent 16% of all of our enrolled load, but only have 0.5% of all of our meters. So this represents a really large energy density ratio. That's a great opportunity to better support in electrification. So one of the great things about CCAs and the way that they operate is the programs that they offer to give back to their communities and reinvest in them. So 3CE's programs span 4 main categories: the transportation electrification space, which provides rebates for electric vehicles, EV infrastructure, and the actual chargers. And this is on the commercial and residential and member agency side, so offering fleet electrification rebates to those cities and counties that we work and live in. On the building electrification side, we offer rebates for new construction electrification, both single and multifamily, as well as rebates for retrofits to homes, single family and multifamily homes, like putting in a heat pump water heater, HVAC system, and most recently expanded to include induction cooktops and portable AC units for those renters. The ag program, I'll be chatting more about this in a sec, but we offer both rebates and technical assistance, currently only on the EV charger side. And finally, energy optimization, our 4th category of programs, our newest and shiniest ones, that we help our customers optimize their energy usage to save money through a battery rebates program, as well as an hourly flex pricing pilot that I'll chat about in a second. So how does our ag program work? We try and keep it as simple as possible for our customers. So they operate as a post-purchase rebate, and an equipment switching isn't actually required. So it's available to those ag customers in food processing or operations, or those on an eligible ag rate. So ag C, ag B, if you know your rate, you're eligible. If not, I'm the one who processes everyone's application. You can just reach out to me and we can figure it out together. So our rebates are stackable with all state and local funding, as long as their programs allow stackable rebates as well. And we typically act as that last place funder because we're post-purchase. We provide 2 rebates per customer per fiscal year. So if you want to buy 2 tractors or a new irrigation pump and a tractor, the world is your oyster on here. It operates on a first come, first served basis, and our programs are not cyclical with funding. So we have a set budget every year. We've never seen a funding delay, and we've actually funded 100% of eligible customers who've applied for a rebate. 4 really quick steps: submit an application. It takes 5 minutes. You don't really need much other than your address and to tell me what you're buying. And then I'll be determining your applicant eligibility and the equipment eligibility. Once you're ready to purchase and have purchased that equipment, you just submit proof of a final paid invoice to me, along with a few equipment images showing that electric mode of power. And once approved, you'll receive a check in the mail. Now, what kind of equipment do we fund? So we've divided our equipment eligibility into 2 categories. We have our tier 1 pieces that are lower cost and lower greenhouse gas avoidance potential. So these are things like your compact tractors. A few good examples are an Amiga, a Burro, or others. ATVs, UTVs, things like that. Tier 2 equipment, so are things that are higher cost, higher greenhouse gas avoidance potential. And so these are those larger pieces like standard tractors, forklifts, irrigation pumps, harvest equipment, processing systems. In this case, I like to say the world is your tractor, because basically anything that's electric that can help you in your ag operations. If you're in food processing or production, we can probably fund. So our tier one base incentive, you can receive 50% of funding up to $10,000. And if it's a tier two piece, you get 50% of that project cost up to $50,000. Now, if you're a small business defined by either number of employees or annual year-over-year income, you can receive an additional $5,000 for those smaller pieces, 75 or $25,000 more for the large ones. And finally, on the disaster replacement side of things, if you've been impacted by a state declared natural disaster, so a flood, a fire, something else, we'd like to help support you rebuilding and rebuilding sustainably. So we'll provide 70% of the project cost up to $15,000 or $75,000 respectively. Next slide. Okay, so this I just wanted to show what 3CE has done thus far with their ag program since launch. We've funded 110 projects across all 5 of our service area counties, with some projects being 11 forklifts, 5 various harvest equipment pieces, 29 other. Again, if it works, it's electric, you want it, we can fund it. 12 irrigation pumps, and this is typically a booster pump paired with a VFD. It could be a new system altogether. 40 tractors, a combination of those standard ones and the little teeny tiny ones, and 13 ATVs or UTVs if you want to ride around your farm in style. So 2 quotes here from our customers that we're so grateful to have participated in our program. The support we received allowed us to purchase an electric mini excavator, an essential tool for revitalizing and expanding our orchard. Another one, a new micro tractor has made quick work of the harvesting process while using zero emission. So it's quieter, it's less maintenance, and our rebates can help make it cost effective for our customers. So the other branch in our ag program that we offer is the 3CE Ag Technical Assistance Program. So this is a completely free service offered to our customers who are interested in electrifying but don't really know where to start on the infrastructure side. So our EV charger program can help you seek contractor bids, offer guidance during the construction process, identify and apply for rebates for your chargers. That could be 3CE rebates or other. And this is available for level 2 or level 3 charging plans. And the nice thing about 3CE's rebates for the chargers is that even for level 3, if you're an ag customer, you can put it on private property for only you and your employees, and they don't have to be public, which is typically a different rebate style than most. So you can see the schedule at the bottom. It doesn't take very long. Apply online. Our contractor who offers this program, Frontier Energy, will do a quick phone interview to determine eligibility, visit your site, and then develop those preliminary site designs so you have a plan to electrify with infrastructure. So one other offering that we have for our ag customers is the hourly flex pricing pilot. Now, this program falls under our energy optimization program category, and it gives our customers more visibility into hourly energy prices, offering more control over when you use your energy and ultimately the ability to save money. Now, the pilot is a little bit complex, so the key takeaways are that it's completely risk-free to join. If you're on an eligible rate, you will never pay more than your existing rate. So it's kind of all carrot, no stick. And if you do well on this pilot, if you actively shift your energy to these green areas on screen, so you can see the hourly prices, you say, I'm not going to use it from 5 o'clock on that Monday because it's expensive. I'll use it at 5 a.m. instead. You can save money. You'll actually receive a check for the difference in savings. We've seen some of our large commercial customers save upwards of $30,000 through this pilot. And again, help customers take better control of their energy usage through automated service providers as well. So I wanted to provide the contact information here for the HFP pilot if it's something that you're interested in learning more about. Once you apply on PG&E's website, I can do that for you too, and then start load shifting. You can connect with those automated service providers to help maximize your opportunity to save money. So Polaris Energy Services is the program implementer. Feel free to take a screenshot of this if you're interested. Or again, you'll get the slide deck later. And Grid Tracker is another option to participate in this pilot. And again, have that flexible energy usage and optimize cost savings. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk through with you all today is what 3CE is doing to maximize our impact in the ag space by developing an ag electrification program 2.0. While we love the program we have, we think we can be doing more. So, our three program goals are to increase program utilization by increasing consistent and diverse participation. We also want to expand beyond post purchase rebates, seeing what other service options could we provide to our customers that they would like to use. And finally, in keeping in line with 3CE's mission, we want to amplify greenhouse gas avoidance through our efforts. Now, the image on the left here shows a community workshop that 3CE hosted for our customers this past February to gain feedback on a program, our Electrify Your Home program. So we're going to be doing a similar strategy, meeting with different stakeholders across our service area to get their feedback on program design options. So while also asking about the barriers, challenges, and opportunities that our ag customers face in electrifying, we want to get their feedback on three key program options that we're interested in pursuing. The first one, expanding our rebate offerings. This could be including more automation software for irrigation and other controls, drones, and things like that. The second category that we're exploring is electrification technical assistance. So moving beyond just chargers, but doing whole farm analyses to see what is an effective ROI to electrify, what would be the new capacity needed and that process with PG&E or SCE, and how much would it cost versus how much would you save year over year. Finally, we're exploring an electric demonstration farm where 3CE would partner with people in our service area to help have a functional, fully electric farm where customers can come try out the equipment, see the ROI to determine if it's cost effective for them, and decide which equipment pieces would be helpful. Now, just a really quick overview of the timeline here. We're currently meeting with our ag stakeholders in November. In January, we're going to go back to manufacturers, innovators, and educational institutions to gain more feedback on what we can do with our program. Then next spring, we're going to bring it back to our customers for a final round of feedback to make sure that the program launching in fall of 2026 helps meet our ag customers where they are and support them in their electrification journeys in a way that's sustainable and cost effective. And with that, I thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I know I threw a lot at you, so if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. My contact information is there, and the QR code is there if you want to scan and apply for a rebate today. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. So far we've learned why we should electrify and some great ideas for getting funding to help us do that. And so now we want to switch to looking at some choices, some new choices that you would have in electric equipment. So it's my pleasure to introduce Robert Blumenfeld, who is West Coast Account Executive for Danar. Robert's professional background is predominantly in energy management, logistics, and sustainability. And his focus and passion has been on sales of energy saving programs, software, and machines. In early 2020, he joined Danar team, bringing that focus and passion to Danar and the mobile power station. Robert is an avid traveler, loves food and cooking, and is an outdoors enthusiast, particularly anything to do with the beach and ocean. So we have a theme going there with all you beach people. And Robert, join the group here with your presentation. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Margot. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate this time. And yeah, Paige, I take waves out your direction as well. I'm an avid boogie boarder a long time, so I know the area. I know that picture. That was really nice. Thanks, everybody, for your time. I am Robert with Danar, as the slide shows. We make the mobile power station. Danar makes the mobile power station, often referred to as the MPS. And we've been 14 years in business making this machine, 6 years commercial now, because our first customer after R&D was the military. And the military really helped shape this machine and the final thing that you're kind of seeing. And actually, it's even evolved from this. There now is a 200, a 400, and then the 5 to 800, and we'll get into all that. But we're in 9 industries. And we just added yesterday, actually, we just added the entertainment industry, so that'll soon say 10. We're going to power large sporting events and music events with our machine. Everything's made in Muncie, Indiana, and it's assembled there, all American. So it's really nice. It's a nice facility out there, and I am the West Coast representative, and so is my boss, Greg Laudermilk. Next slide, please. So what is the mobile power station, the MPS? It is a multi-work machine, all electric, heavy-duty work machine that can also be a power supply, a power source, stores energy, and can provide that anywhere. And it can also EV charge and tow as well. So it's kind of a universal machine, but oftentimes people go one direction or another with it, either work or power and charge, being secondary or vice versa. And we'll talk about both of those together. So this is the mobile power station as a work unit. And again, even as a work unit, the mobile power station comes with the ability to export power, and it still comes with a level 2 charger. So even these work units come with those things. But as a work-focused unit, it can take any of the attachments. So it accepts and uses all John Deere attachments, all Caterpillar attachments. That's a universal skid steer plate on the front. So the idea for farming or for construction for this group that's on this call is it not only is zero emissions and all electric, but it also is a multi-use machine. You would never sit and be idle. This is a bucket loader, and then when you don't need a bucket loader, it becomes a scraper, it becomes a backhoe. It just, in 10 minutes, you can release the front loader, just like a skid steer, and attach it to your next piece of equipment. And it can also tow 60,000 pounds. And that is what a lot of farming has been using it for. My farm customer uses it for tillage, for harvesting, to tow spray tanks, anything it can tow through it. And as my farmer customers say, instead of its diesel equivalent where 70% of its power is just going out the exhaust pipe, 70% of my money, this uses only the power it needs for the job. So this can go all day long up and down your fields and only use the power it needs with zero emission. Then, of course, there's also its power and EV charging side. This shows its EV charging. Again, this has really, really been powerful for us and very popular for us, this configuration, where it's providing EV charging wherever you need it. So for my construction group on the call here, this is on your job sites. This is powering your trailers, powering anything you need, and also EV charging any of your work units, and EV charging your eventual all-electric work machines. Those big excavators that are coming out, those big machines that are coming out that no one can power, and you don't want to pull out of the hole to get back to a central charger. This is your solution. So for fleets, the same thing. Again, no permitting, no construction, no trenching. You can move this wherever you need it and wherever you need an EV charger. I've got a lot of cities and counties that are using it for that direction as well. Just a sub to their fleet, they can build 1 or 2 EV charging stations, but then they have this move around and service anywhere else they need it. Now the power side. And again, this is in conjunction with EV charging. You can do both. You can do work as well with these machines. You can tow with these. But typically, as you see in that low right corner, if you load it up with 800 kWh of capacity, which is huge if you think about the gas tank, that capacity, you would just be towing would be the only work you'd be doing, but you'd be able to power in all phases, and you'd be able to EV charge, as you saw on that past screen. Now, the emphasis here, which is really interesting, is we also have 483 phase power. For those that know it, I think on this call, many of you know what I'm talking about, high voltage power. So it has 120 and 240 outlets are standard on the mobile power station. But you also have the option for 483 phase power. That is a really big deal. We're the only mobile unit that is self-propelled that can provide that power, and it's bi-directional. So this is a big deal. You see that picture in the right side where it's connected to the panel through an interconnect box. That's the mobile power station, and that's bi-directional. So that could be supporting a building. In other words, it could be outputting in 483 phase, keeping a building going or keeping pumps going during an outage or even during high cost. You heard Paige talk about time shifting for high cost and getting paid to do it. In other words, not using your expensive power and only using your power when it's not as needed, when the demand is not high. Well, this is that dovetail solution where you could fill up an MPS, 800 kWh of an MPS. If you think about it, two of those are 1.6 megawatts of capacity. You could fill this up during times that power is cheap and there's no demand, and then you could shut off that high power and use this instead. It's also bi-directional, as I said, so this can also charge the MPS that way. A mobile power station can be charged with a level 2 charger overnight, a level 3 in about 6 to 8 hours, or you could charge it this way. And there's another slide that'll emphasize this, but it's a big deal. You could fill the MPS up through your electrical panel, directly connected in a couple of hours. And now you've got a machine that has 800 kWh of power. It has DC fast charging on it, and it has the ability to output power. And you did it all without an EV charger at all. In other words, this machine could be recharged, refilled up without an EV charger in about 2 hours. And if you were going from 20% to 80%, which is typical, you could probably do that in a long lunch break. And so that is a really big deal. And the last thing I'll point to on this slide, this is an important slide, is that blue chevron, second to last, pair with diesel gens for continuous power. So again, that 483 phase, you see it with the cam locks there in the right, that could connect not just to an electrical panel, as you see, that could also connect to one of your clean diesel gens. That would do a lot of things for you. Again, as the chevron says, for continuous power, you could just keep going because you could fill up the gen and run it when you needed to, and then shut it off and run the MPS. But what's really a big deal here too is that still reduces CO2. That still reduces your cost of your generator. Because if you've got your generator on and it's 100% on, but it's connected to an MPS and it's providing power to a load, it's taking probably about 40%, 60%. That's typical, right? And then you just deal with the excess that goes out the exhaust. Well, in this scenario, where you had the MPS connected to a diesel gen, it would be capturing all that wasted energy and filling up. When you turn that gen off, you now have the power and the EV charging and the work capacity almost for free because you took it from a gen that was 100% on. So that's become, I'm emphasizing that because especially in construction, that's become a very big use case for us. And there's a great article I can send you from Sunbelt actually that shows pairing diesel gens with a battery electric system like an MPS, and that you still reduce 70% of load. You're still cutting your diesel gas costs. And of course, you're cutting your maintenance on your diesel gens as well. This can also be, of course, as I mentioned before, total zero emissions because it connects directly to the electrical panel. And that last chevron is the resiliency part, which again, Paige touched on, which is a good point because this is a great solution for emergency power. Obviously, four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, it can get to the load you need it to. So this emphasizes what I just talked about. You can recharge the MPS because that's what everybody asks, whether you're farming, whether you're construction, they're saying, hey, these electrics are great, but in the past, my diesel motor, my diesel equipment, my diesel generator, I just brought a tank in, a diesel tank, and they filled it up and it was good to go. And that was the biggest hurdle, if I might say, for electric, because in electric, that electric piece of equipment or that diesel gen has to be pulled to a EV charger. Well, in this case, that's true for the MPS. It can recharge through a level 2 or a level 3. But again, that last way of recharging it changes that dynamic. You can pull this out, recharge it very fast from your electrical panel, or even truck it on a lowboy to a local 483 phase power or your own and get it back within 90 minutes, all filled up and ready to supply power to that job site, ready to supply EV charging to that job site, ready to tow or do work. So that has really been a big use case change for us, an evolution for us, and it's really making the MPS an essential piece of equipment for charging other EVs, for charging equipment, for providing job site power, or providing clean work equipment on the farm or on the construction site. And this is what emphasizing what I spoke about before, that virtual power plant. The other thing the MPS can do is what I spoke about, which you can fill it up with your solar power, or where power is inexpensive or there's no demand on it. And then you have a rolling capacity of power that can be used in all the variety of ways when power is expensive. It could support a large using power like a pump or a building, something that would cost you a lot of money to run every day, especially June and September during demand charge. And this could then take that place of it. You could join a program where you shut off that large power user and use the MPS instead. And again, it can also do that for EV charging and for work. So this is us. As I said, I'm out of Oakland. My boss, the EVP of the West, is out of Sacramento. And that's our information. Please let me know. I know I threw a lot at you there, but let me know any other questions. I really appreciate your guys' time.
So thank you, Robert, for sharing all those exciting possibilities for equipment. That was great to hear. We have one more speaker.
Pardon me, Margot. New
Yes.
development. Bryce Telfer from Boson Motors is actually attending this webinar.
Excellent.
Unfortunately, Aaron had some technical problems, and Bryce is ready to do the presentation for Boson Motors, but we don't have an intro for him.
Well, thank you for stepping in. And could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, it's my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me. My name's Bryce. I'm with Boson Motors, have been for the past year or so as the business development manager here in the Central Valley. So it's been my pleasure to kind of scoot this guy around and introduce him to new business owners or current business owners looking for a solution like this, and anyone else who's really in this world and moving forward, in a progressive manner. So it's been exciting, and there has been a lot of good reception, as well as some more traditional thinking in the world of diesel and combustion engines. So we've gotten used to that pretty good. But again, Bryce with Boson here. And if you can go to the next slide, please, we'll introduce the LX40 to you guys. The LX40, it's a fully electric 4x4 utility vehicle. This has been tested in the coldest of cold in North Dakota and in the hottest of hot in Texas for the last 8 years. And we are currently in pilot phase now, rolling out 25 of our first units to actual deployment and usage in the field to start collecting that invaluable feedback. The battery itself is a 96-volt battery with ranges up to 72 miles an hour. Of course, you have differences in the range based on the payload that you're currently utilizing. But it's exciting to hear everyone's take, too, especially with the programs that are involved with the LX40 here. We have 3CE, we have some of the airboards, a lot of the airboards actually that I've chat with. You guys have probably seen my name pop up on emails a couple of times, but the incentives included in purchasing a unit like this are vast, and it's really exciting to see the backing to switching over to a zero emissions unit like this. But that is not to be the actual capabilities of the unit are not to be remissed, as they are, is a very vast and robust unit itself. Like the 72-mile range, time to charge to, I would say, from 10 to 90, because you don't want to go under that 10. And typically overcharge as we run into some degradation there. But time 10 to 90%, I would say 11 to 12 hours. And then we do offer level 2 charging, and that's going to be more closer to the 5 to 6 hour range. As I mentioned, the capabilities and robustness of this unit, this is built from the ground up as a workhorse. Now, this is your everyday. We're seeing interest, from the ag industry, from municipalities, from airports even. I've sold a unit to an exotic bird supplier. So it's very vast, the applications used for this unit. As you can see here, it has a 4-wheel drive system, direct drive, front and rear motors. We have the payload capacity of 2,000 pounds and the towing capacity of 2,000 pounds as well. So again, very capable and specs that you're just not quite used to out of the UTV space, especially when you think of electric. The wheels are a 14-inch wheel, and the tires currently that we have as standard are Kumho ATV tires. or AT tires, I'm sorry. So again, capable tires that you're used to and can actually replace anytime you need to here in the States. So as I mentioned, we are in the pilot program currently. So we do have exclusive pilot program pricing, as well as exclusive benefits to our pilot users, such as extended warranties. A big question I get is, battery life. It's probably the number one concern, understandably, of all these users that we're bringing on board. But the current battery that we have, I mentioned the 8 years of testing. That unit specifically has over 100,000 hours of testing and is still on the original battery. So the extended warranty is, to cover that covers up to 7 years on that battery. Obviously, we've seen it go further, so hopefully you never have to tap into that. But we back our product very heavily. We also have a 5-year on the drivetrain and 2-year on the electric components, and that's specifically for pilot users. Our demand currently is in California, Texas. We've had multiple inquiries from outside of that, Oregon, Florida, North Dakota. So demand generation is picking up heavily, as there is just a need for a unit like this, especially to cut down on emissions and, like discussed earlier, some of those offset health risks on the diesel side of things. So it's kind of a two-way street there. We have utilized the San Joaquin Valley Air District quite a bit. I've been in contact a lot with the Monterey. So you guys, again, have probably seen me pop up your inbox a couple times, but a lot of different locations here in the Valley and outside of the Valley that have a high interest. It's just a matter of getting my anchors about me in the incentive space, because they are ever changing, I will admit. Of course, the Car Moyer program as well is heavily involved in this. And again, it's something that's exciting for us. And most of these farmers are very familiar with these programs that are already running or have run in the past. And so that's honestly one of the first questions they ask outside of the battery is, what are the incentives involved into getting into one of these? So they're very, very knowledgeable in that space. And I'm thankful for the support from all the air boards I've checked in with. So the benefits to city and farm and, everything in between, honestly, is these zero emissions. A major carbon offset is exactly what it was designed for. And that is accomplished by the standard that we've set on the LX40 in its robustness, but along with the robustness, the zero emissions capabilities and the lithium phosphate battery that we have on board. That's actually one of the reasons why a lot of these companies approach me is to offset their carbon emissions. A lot of them in the Valley, especially in the San Joaquin Airborne District, it is very common and very known that this area pollutes a lot larger than some of the other areas, just because of the way geographically, we sit here. So that's a big deal here in the Valley. It's a big deal everywhere, but there is a focus here in the Valley that we can take advantage of those high incentives. It has the enhanced efficiency. Obviously, it's a quiet operation and there's no emissions. So, I mean, that's just a couple of the top level benefits that you're seeing from the LX40. Give me a call. I could take it by on site. We could see some of the other benefits. But yeah, typically what we're seeing in regards to ROI, you're looking at a 6160 typical average savings per year. And that's based on if you use one diesel unit or gas unit, 25 miles in a week of standard maintenance and clutch replacements, which is a big deal. I see clutch replacements all the time. I see belt replacements and a lot of other the factors that go into a combustion engine. When you have, a switch over to something like this, that's actually one of the first things that the new user is taken back by, because, I mean, there is only essentially the gearbox fluid, that you have to check as far as internal maintenance goes. You do have your standard brake pads and your standard tires, of course, but outside of the gearbox fluid, there's nothing internally that needs maintenance. Outside of possibly a software update here and there, which, again, pilot program users have first access to. We do have a growing network as well as of dealers in the area, anywhere from Bakersfield, California, if you're familiar, all the way up to Salinas and Fulton. So we have a growing dealer network to support any sort of maintenance. But again, those first 25 pilot users, we really want to take care of and get the feedback. And this is not for just the first 25. This is customers moving forward. But of course, the intentiveness to the first 25 is crucial for us to hit the ground running and really show our buyers that we are here for you for the long run, and it's something that we want to support, for a very long time. And here you see a couple of the images I've taken at some of the demos that we've done recently. Again, I appreciate your time, and thank you guys for taking a look. My contact info, I can share that in the chat. But again, my name is Bryce Telfer, and if you guys are interested, please feel free to reach out. We could get something aligned for you that works best either on site or at a neutral location. But thank you guys to the ones that I've chat with on the Air Board District and everyone else here that gave me the promotion here today to jump on the panel. So thank you guys. So that's Bryce, as you guys can see on screen, BRYCE.Telfer, TELFER, at bosonmotors.com. Again, that's Bryce.Telfer at bosonmotors.com. And you can connect with me there, and we'll exchange, and feel free to shoot me a call or text anytime. We'll help you out.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank you for pinch hitting for Aaron.
He's a very busy guy, so it's my pleasure to jump in for him.
Yeah, cool, great. We actually finished a little bit early, which leaves a little more time. We got about 15, actually 20 minutes for Q&A. Right now it's 10:40 till 10:55, and then Margot will do a closing remarks. And thank you, by the way, to all of our presenters. Great job. We appreciate you taking the time here. Thank you for everybody who's attended, and please ask questions of any of our presenters.
Okay. And I haven't seen anyone raise a hand yet, and I'm going to go ahead for the time being and open chat for everyone, just to be sure that, if can any of the attendees please in chat just let us know that you're able to raise your hand, or can someone just raise your hand so we can see that it's possible? Oh, okay. Actually, I see a question in Q&A. Oh, and there's two hands. First, the Q&A, the presentation. Yes, we will make the presentation available for sending to you. Pete, how long will that be?
That'll be a couple of weeks. We got a lot of events going on this week, and then next week's Thanksgiving, so it'll be the first week of December. We'll send you a copy of the slides and also the recording of the presentation out to all the attendees and all those registered.
Okay, cool. So let's see. David Myers has his hand raised. I'm going to allow him to talk.
Thank you, Brian. This is David Myers from Grid Tractor. You saw my name on the slide about hourly flex pricing, and just wanted to add to that, perhaps even more interesting than hourly flex pricing for the audience, is that we have about $1 million of incentives for charging systems, chargers, hardware, software, controls, available for approximately the next 6 months that stack with everything that was discussed here. So the email is in the presentation that will go out, or you can just find us at Grid Tractor, and we can stack all these good things together. Thank you. Thanks for the webinar.
Okay. And anyone else with questions?
Any questions for Central Coast Community Energy and their ag electrification program and their rebates, et cetera, or for the Monterey Bay Air Resource District about their incentives and programs, or of course for any questions for DANR or for Boson Motors? We're glad to have your participation. They're here to ask your questions. So please feel free. By the way, I'll open this up to the panelists. If Robert or Paige or Bryce or David has any questions for each other, feel free to ask them. It could be useful if you have any of those questions. We'll wait a couple of minutes here, and if nobody asks any questions, then I'll turn it over to Margot.
Oh, there's Margot.
There's Margot.
So, hello, I had a question. I don't remember hearing this, but I was concentrating on a lot of things. How long, and this would be for both DANR and Boson, how long from the time you get an application well, actually in order in your case, how long before the actual piece of equipment would be in hand?
That's a great question, Margot. So currently, with where we are in our pilot program, we do plan to scale in a much larger way here after the fact. But these first 25 units, we can have a unit out to you within a week, is our anticipated delivery. What our guideline too is typically in warehouse, we have 5 units ready to go at all times. If it is an order larger than 5 units, typically it's about a 2 to 3 week turnaround.
Thank you.
Boy, I wish I could say that or anything even close. That's great, Bryce. We're a lot larger, obviously big, giant machine. It's right now we're at 12-month build cycle. We're trying to get that down. We're trying to cut that in half. But especially with the 483 phase high voltage, that kind of material is very constrained, but we're working on it. But right now we're quoting 12 months.
Thanks, Robert. And that still beats a lot of school buses. So.
We'll just wait another minute or two, then I'll turn it over to Margot. People may be writing down the questions or thinking of a question, or, we'll give everybody every chance to participate.
I actually had a question, if you guys don't mind, for the incentive-based panelists that we have on board here.
Yeah, no, I encourage you. Go ahead, Bryce.
Awesome. Yeah, so I was just curious for Mr. David, and I believe it was Paige, and forgive me if I'm mistaken on that, but what is the deciphering factor between approaching, say, for instance, the Air District in regards to a utility vehicle, the electric utility incentives, for example, compared to 3C with their incentive on the Tier 1? What is the difference there? I'm sure you guys work closely together, but where's the cutoff there, and when should I approach one over the other?
Yeah, David, do you want to take that first? Because I know your program has a little bit more requirements on the funding side.
Sure. Well, we have to go by what the Air Resources Board requires in their guidelines for each of the programs. So with the Moyer program, it's actually not an agricultural UTV program. That's for everything but agriculture, essentially. The farmer guidelines, so that funding pot is specific to agricultural operations. So that's the limits on that that can be funded as 75% up to $13,500. That's what's in the guidelines. As far as stacking goes, let's say if you wanted to fund the rest, I don't know that if you can find funding from 3CE, that may be a possibility to fund the rest of it. But I don't believe there's any limits on co-funding using local funds. So that would be any other funding source that's derived from local dollars.
Yeah, and I can just jump in. So we're stackable with all programs as the last place. I think Embark is a great partner to 3CE, so we love seeing people come in with funding from them. Sometimes CORE is applied. I know that program's closing pretty soon. 3CE, we just try and make our program as simple as possible. We don't have to adhere to CARB regulations because the funding comes from our own revenue as an energy entity. So we don't have any funding cycle periods. It's 365 days a year. And we don't require that fuel switch out. So if someone wanted to still keep their diesel one, while I believe CARB and Embark's funding wouldn't allow that, we don't require that. So that is one difference between ours. And then the last thing with 3CE is that we don't require a contract before. We just wait until the equipment's been actually purchased, and then we'll pay it out.
Got it. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Again, if any of the panelists want to ask each other questions, I'm sure it'd be very illuminating. That was an excellent question, Bryce. Any of the participants, we'll give it another 30 seconds or so. Then I'll turn it over to Margot.
I want to thank everybody for coming, and especially the speakers for giving their time. today. We very much value that. I'd also like to thank our staff who are behind the scenes, which to me is a very important role as IT, and that's Brian Sawyer, our communications director, and Naomi Wiggins, who is our climate resilience educator. Thanks so much for your help today, and thanks again so much for coming.
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, thank you. This was great.
Thanks for the opportunity, Mario.
Thanks, everybody.
You're all most welcome. You guys did a great job. Thank you.
All right, sounds good, Pete.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I got to jump, but this was awesome. Look forward to staying in touch with everyone.
Thank you, Paige.
Yay.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
And
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
David, if you wanna jump, I know you have a busy job. Bryce.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, David.
Yeah, thanks all. We'll
Thanks
talk
again.
soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for attending, and we really appreciate your participation too.
Definitely. All right.
Okay,
Thanks,
so I'm wrapping up.
everybody.